Okay, good morning, folks. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of the Arkansas Broadband Leaders Network, or ABLN. Thanks for getting with us. I know we're entering a holiday weekend, and so thanks for everyone for being here. Apologies that we did need to postpone the previous meeting from 2 weeks ago, but we're back and live again today. Again, so thank you for being here. We'll go through actually a lot of information today and talk through some things. And have a lively discussion and Q&A if we need to. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to have updates. We're going to look at updates from the BEAD program, updates there on that side of the equation, and then also have an update on the Arkansas Digital Skills and Opportunity Plan, and we'll take a look at that. And then, of course, as always, have a little bit of Q&A if folks want to have some discussion. So. All right, so on the BEAD program first, the initial BEAD program bidding is complete. Okay, so on April 23rd, we completed our third and final competitive round of bidding in the Arkansas BEAD program. Okay, so through 3 rounds of bidding, 99% of the state's eligible locations were preliminarily selected. Okay, now, that says 99, it's not 100. But our team at the Arkansas State Broadband Office must make a grant award for 100% of locations. We've talked about that for a long time. There is no option for us to not make a preliminary selection or a grant award for all nearly 84,000 locations across the state. So we are beginning the process to make preliminary selections for the remaining 1%. Okay, so through 3 rounds of bidding, and we'll look at some numbers for round 3 and in total in just a second. From a high level perspective, we'll look at some data shortly, but through 3 rounds, in short, 99% of our locations were preliminarily selected in the program. We got to get to 100, and so we've started that process on our team, and that is underway. So looking at round 3, which we wrapped on April 23rd, there were 20 applicants or ISPs with at least 1 preliminarily selected bid. And when you see that, just think application, okay? With at least 1 preliminary bid in round 3 for a total of 597 preliminarily selected bids or applications in round 3, okay? In round 3, there were 34,804 homes, businesses, and community anchor institutions throughout the state covered by those preliminary selected bids or applications in round 3. Total grant dollars, okay, for the applications in round 3 that were preliminarily selected, $312.9 million in grant dollars allocated for round 3. An average grant request per location, $8,992 to cover those 34,804 locations in round 3. And then lastly, 77%, okay, of all the locations preliminarily selected in round 3 belong to fiber-based projects. So in short, 42% of the state's eligible locations in our program were covered in round 3 for 31% of the state's total funding. Now, the note here, these are preliminary selections, okay? They're not set in stone. We have to do some things on our end, and we'll talk about that in a second. This is an early look at the preliminary selections that took place in round 3 at a high level, okay? So that was round 3. What does it look like across rounds 1, 2, and 3 for the whole state? So on a cumulative basis, across all 3 rounds, 880 bids or applications, okay, were preliminarily selected across 32 different applicants or ISPs, okay? In total, across 3 rounds, 82,765 homes, businesses, and community anchor institutions were preliminarily selected, representing, again, we talked about this a second ago, 99% of total eligible locations in the state for this program. In total, $585.3 million in grant dollars have been allocated on a preliminary basis, accounting for 57% of total available funding and leaving about $439 million remaining. so far. Now, quick note on that, the 439 that's remaining, that is where we would get $15 million to help support and scale the Arkansas Fiber Academy programs. We've talked about that. That's where we would get the $5 million that we intend to dedicate to digital safety for elementary and middle school students. You know, administrative funds, so forth. So along with potential what has been referred to as non-deployment or enablement funding, that's where that 439, that's where all of that comes from. Now again, this is preliminary. We have to go do some things that we'll talk about in a second, but early snapshot. So across all three rounds, $7,072 average grant request for all 82,765 locations. And through all three rounds, 89% of Arkansas's locations selected to go with a fiber-based project. So in short, through three rounds, 99% of our locations covered for 57% of the state's funds. These are going to be some of the best numbers across the country. And again, thank you for all of your efforts and support throughout this process. So here is what the best case timeline looks like on the BEAD side for the BEAD program. Okay, we got a lot going on. Although we just finished all three rounds last month, we got a lot of stuff happening in the background. So what does that look like? We have to do a holistic review of all preliminary selections across all three rounds, right? Because now we know, for a particular applicant or ISP, we know what they have been preliminarily selected for when you put it all together, rounds 1, 2, and 3. So now we got to go take a look, do we think they can handle it? Do some evaluation, do some analysis on that. So we got to do that. Potentially, could some of the preliminary selections be too expensive? And we got to take a look at that. We have to look at individual locations, to make sure that all the locations are actually locations. Because when we do the mapping and everything, sometimes there's locations that are marked as a location, but it's really a hay barn, right? Or in Northwest Arkansas, maybe it's a big boulder that was marked as a location. So we got to do some location review in the program. We're already started the process around finding a grant award and preliminary selection for the remaining 1% of locations. We have to do that. We have to go meet with U.S. Commerce and talk about our program and the results and how we did. And then would there be any potential changes from NTIA? So all that's going on right now. It's happening in the background. So kind of projecting out a little bit, and remember, this is kind of best case scenario. We would hope to post our final proposal, just fancy slang for the grant award document, okay, for public comment, we think in July, all right. Then we would submit that document to NTIA for their approval in July, August, okay. Hopefully get their approval. How much time that's going to take, not sure, it's up to them. So we have to see. We come back to Arkansas, get approval from the Arkansas General Assembly. And depending upon how much time NTIA takes to get their approval impacts when we can go to the legislature, right, to get their approval. And after that, then we can execute grant agreements with our ISPs. And so a little bit here about what's going on in the background and a little bit here about how we would project out things to kind of move along the next couple of months. But again, this is the best case scenario of what that could look like. And of course, this will be available to you in the follow-up email that everyone gets in a little bit after the call. We've introduced a new concept on these calls because I know not everyone wants to hear me opine for the whole time. So we're going to meet the team over the next several meetings that we do have. And today's first member of the team that's going to introduce himself to all of you is going to be Joseph Gibbons. He's one of our project managers on our team. And so Joseph, take a second and introduce yourself to our stakeholders.
Thanks, Glenn. As Glenn said, my name is Joseph Gibbons, and I'm one of the project managers here at the Arkansas State Broadband Office. Before coming over to the office, I was working for Governor Sanders' administration as one of her infrastructure liaisons. And my role here in the office is doing a lot of research and providing information to Glenn about the low Earth orbit satellite technology, whether it's SpaceX's Starlink, Amazon's Kuiper project, or ASC Space Mobile. And other roles and responsibilities I have here, I do a lot of tracking of federal legislation that impacts the B program and nominations to the NTIA and the Labor Department and the Commerce Department. So just really trying to give the office and Glenn the necessary information needed that is possibly going to change the course of BEAD or any other broadband related policy or impacts. Uh, Happy to be here. I'm going to put my information in the chat, my phone number and email in case any of you guys have questions. As Glenn said, we're here to make sure that we close the digital divide, and we're here to answer any questions you have, given the fact that this is a very fluid process, given the change of power that's taken place since this past January. So thank you, everyone, for taking time to listen, and you have a great Memorial Day weekend.
All right, thank you, Joseph. Great introduction. I hope everyone knows Joseph now, so that's good. Thank you, Joseph, for doing that. And again, as we move forward, you'll see different folks on our team introduce themselves to you over the coming meetings over the next month or two, and that'll be a very interesting and I think good thing for everyone to get together. So with that, we'll move to updates from the Digital Opportunity Manager this morning. Let's see, I think Cam was going to be on. Make sure. Yeah.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Cam.
Good morning. No real material updates from me. Maybe you guys heard the news. I'm just gonna cue you up, Glenn. But on May 9th, we got some news regarding our digital equity capacity related programs, and it wasn't good at all. And so we are kind of recalibrating, and Glenn is going to really touch base on some of our next steps. And glad to be here working and serving with the state of Arkansas. That's all from me today.
All right, thank you, Cam. Doing some traveling yesterday and today, so thanks that you could join us from the road, and appreciate that. So with that, I know let's get into it, and we can stay on this call for as long or as short as people want. Because I'm going to talk about this a little bit, and then we're going to open up the floor to questions and Q&A, and just have a discussion. Okay, so as Cam pointed out, and I'm sure most everyone on the call is aware, the federal DE capacity grant program was discontinued, okay, as of May 9th, which was a couple of Fridays ago. So that was funding, it was about 17 million or so, 17.1, dedicated to the digital skills programming and device programming outlined in our Arkansas Digital Skills and Opportunity Plan, which everyone is fully aware of. I do want to note this discontinuation does not affect the BEAD program, okay? So as of today, the capacity has been discontinued, but the BEAD program remains intact. There has been no indication, while changes may come down on the BEAD side, there has been no indication that the state will not have enough funding to execute its infrastructure program on that side, okay? So with that, all programmatic activities related to the DE Capacity Grant Program have been paused, okay, for now. This does present new opportunities for us and for the state for alternative funding sources, okay, for this work, as well as program revision, okay? Nothing's off the table, okay? So we are actively evaluating all of our options to potentially continue this work, from finding alternative funding sources for this work, which could include a number of different things, to any program revision, right, and/or program revision that we may need to do. So although we paused, we're evaluating all the options, okay? As of today, it is our office's intention to continue this work. It's unfortunate that we were very close to releasing finally our requests for proposal for both programs, and then the discontinuation occurred. So it's very unfortunate that that took place, but it is our intention to keep moving forward and, again, evaluating all the options available to us. I do want to reiterate to everyone here that it's our mission remains steadfast, okay, to connect the unconnected throughout our state and empower all of our folks to self-determine their success, okay, in our digital economy that exists today. So, again, things have been paused on that side. We're evaluating all of our options with the full intention to keep moving forward. But what we do every day and our mission and our partnership with you guys, which we have to be successful as a state, that remains unchanged. As you heard, Cam, who's our digital opportunity manager, he's still on our team. No plans for him to go anywhere. We've moved things around and funding around, and some responsibilities have shifted a little bit. But Cam is still on our team. That role remains filled, fully intend for it to remain filled. Our mission is unchanged, and we are moving forward. So I know that this is obviously not what, any of us would have wanted, right? And that's life. You get curveballs, you get barriers and bumps in the road, but you have to keep moving. And we're going to move forward. And we want to move forward with all of you. And our mission remains unchanged. I am, for better or for worse, there are pros and cons to everything. For better or for worse, I am an eternal optimist. The mission continues. Okay? The mission continues. So with that, let's do Q&A, and please feel free. Look, I try to keep it real. We try to keep it as open and transparent as possible. So I will answer what I can for you and the best to my knowledge for you. If anyone has any questions or discussion for today. So we'll go to the chat box first and see if there's anything there. We'll take a look, and then we'll see if anyone wants to come off of mute and we can have a discussion. So let's see, a whole bunch of AI note takers, which is great to see. I actually could use some training on this stuff, so if anyone has ones that they like and want to give a recommendation to me, please feel free to send it on by. I will not say no to a recommendation. And Joseph put in his work phone for everyone, as well as his email, in case folks want to reach out to him. Okay, so scroll through outside of Joseph's contact. Okay. Bunch of AI stuff. Let's see, Hunter said, so what can we do as partners to support AR Connect with creative solutions focused on the goals of delivering digital skills statewide? Hunter, great question. Look, we are going to work to, I know we have these calls every 2 weeks, as long as we're able to pull them off, and most times we do. We're going to work at trying to do a convening of our county broadband committee folks, like a separate convening for our county broadband folks, as well as all of our other partners, to kind of talk through some of this some more. And I think, look, we are open to all brainstorming ideas and concepts. As we've said from the beginning, we can't accomplish this stuff without you, and so we have to work with you. And I think we'll probably do a lot of brainstorming, a lot of hand-holding together, and so I would be on the lookout for communication from our team around opportunities to think through with us and have ideas and whiteboard stuff, and so be on the lookout for that. I think we have a great group of folks. You are amazing folks and always have great ideas, and we can't always come up with everything from this office or from our chairs here. We depend on you and to help us through this, and so we're going to work together. And so I would just be on the lookout. We're going to have more talks about this hopefully shortly, and that's I'll leave it there for now, but as we continue to move forward, um, we'll work on some things. You know, and look, it's not like, a little bit more on that. There, we were not, you know, statewide digital skills included in our digital skills and opportunity plan. It's not like that some of that stuff wasn't happening already, right? There are, you know, it's all over the place. There's libraries doing good work. There are other state departments doing good work, other state agencies doing good work. Nonprofits are doing good work out there. And so it's likely that we need to lift some of that up and help support that and lift those programs up and help bring more attention, right? You know, to what's already on the ground and taking place. And can we find ways, while we still look for alternative funding and how to move forward on our side, there are things that are still happening out there every day. And so you may see us try to get more engaged on, while we do the other stuff in the background, looking for a way forward, helping to lift up what's already out there and trying to bring more attention to that, help drive folks to what's already there. I think that's one, you know, lever to help move forward, and as well as continuing to look for how we move forward with our plans. And so I would say we're going to have stronger engagement and partnerships, perhaps, moving forward. Let's see. Thank you to the team for remaining focused on the mission goal. Yeah, appreciate that, honey.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, again, thank you to you and the team. I know this is all a surprise and a shock, and you know, things change, but I think those of us, we all stand ready across the state to support where we can and continue to lift up the work.
Yeah, thank you, Hunter. Great points there. Great points. And look, I've said from the beginning, it'll be 3 years in August, coming in. For 99% of the people on this call, you've heard me say it before, if it's true, you know, 3 pillars remain unchanged, right? It can get built for folks. And that's the thing, not only through our grants or federal grants, but there's tons of capital being used to build out broadband on behalf of ISPs and investors on their own, right? It's not all grant money. There's grant money in this from the state and from the federal government, and also private investment that's out there getting things built all across Arkansas in this country. But that's one piece of it. We can get it built, but folks have to be able to afford it, right? And even if it's built and they can afford it, they got to know how to leverage it to be successful and to improve quality of life and to leverage it. And so that does not remain, that is not changing. Our mission is steadfast and we'll keep going forward. Sometimes it takes a little longer than you want. And you guys have been by our side for a long time now. And I understand that sometimes things don't go as fast as they need to or should. You know, a lot of this should have been done yesterday, right? But just stay with us. Sometimes it's slow, but we're going to keep moving forward together.
Glenn, my name is John Kent. I'm a new person to the call.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to speak with Cam several weeks ago. I'm a resident of Newton County up in north central Arkansas, and we had a group, a committee that went dormant, and we're trying to restart it. Actually, we had our first face-to-face meeting yesterday, and I was made aware of the of the preliminary fiscal year 26 changes. So all that to be said, after listening this morning, it sounds like there's no open rounds of BEAD funding planned. We've just missed the third round of that last month, it appears. Is that a correct
Yeah, no, look,
understanding?
first, thanks for being on the call today. It's great to hear from you. I'm super excited that the Newton County group is reorganizing a little bit, re-energizing. Let me go back. I'm going to explain a little more. And this is a good recap for everybody. So it's a great question, John. Okay, yeah, so what you're seeing at the top here, this is the results that we had out of our round 3. We had 3 rounds in total. We just wrapped our third and final. Here's the thing, and that's a great point. So the way that the Arkansas broadband program is working moving forward is different from how it's ever worked before. So I understand where this is kind of maybe coming from, a little confusion. In the past, in the first 2 rounds, which covered like 3 different, well, really 5. There were 2 rounds with sort of 5 total sub-rounds underneath it. Anyway, point is, in the first 2 rounds of this program through 20, 21, and 22-ish, like the local governments, right? So the county judges and mayors had to sort of be like super active and kind of sign on, kind of partner with an ISP to do a project in the county or in the municipality, right? That's kind of how it used to work.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff we're doing now is completely different. Okay, so there were about 84,000 locations all across the state. Actually, Newton County is I'm sure you're well aware, was the least connected county in the state. I think about 92% of locations within Newton County
Yes.
do not have
Yes.
access to what is considered broadband speeds, right? And so it's different in that we have to make a grant award for all 84,000 locations. So it's not like it used to be. It's not, the burden is not on and was not on the county judge or mayors within Newton County to get a project, okay? We are gonna bring project or projects to Newton County to cover the Newton County locations regardless, okay? So the Newton County locations are included in what we've done to date and will be done to date, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how many ever, I don't know off the top of my head, but how many ever locations are in Newton County that are eligible for the BEAD program are gonna have a grant award through our office, and that's, the burden is not on you or the county judge in Newton County or the mayors in Newton County. We're doing that for you, basically. And so you didn't miss out on anything. That's my point. Didn't miss out. Newton County the locations in Newton County are going to be covered by this program, period, just like every other county in the state. So you didn't miss anything. Newton County is included. But we're excited to see you guys getting off the ground again, and we're going to help you every step of the way that we can.
Thank you for those comments. Is it appropriate for me to reach out outside of this call to try to get up to speed on what we should be doing to help ourselves or help you to help us?
Yeah, great question. So we have a couple of, I'm not sure if you've seen some of the documents. We have, I think there's 2 versions of our toolkit for local leaders now for the county committees. There was an initial version that we put out in 23. There's been an updated version that's come out since then. So we're going to make sure, yeah, Cam and our team will work with you guys to make sure you have everything you need. We do a lot of road stuff too. So likely Cam and I and some of our team members will probably come up to Newton County and we can do a joint meeting with you guys and help you walk through it. So yeah, we're gonna help you.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll follow up outside of this meeting on when we can coordinate that. That would be wonderful. I'm the leader of an organization in Newton County called Community Matters, and it's an organization that tries to put together the puzzle of assistance, whether it's just personal assistance that's needed. But we decided as a Community Matters organization to help put some human resources behind rekindling our committee, of which we had a meeting yesterday that included 6 people from 18 months ago. So bottom line is I'll be quiet now and I'll follow up
Okay.
outside of this meeting and we'll try to coordinate when you and Cam Mike could come share
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah, thank you, John, for that. And look, it's really energizing and great to hear from the Newton County group. And that's the whole goal is, yes, our office runs a lot of this grant stuff, but we have to have people on the ground, grassroots, people who care about this stuff and can help make sure that things are accomplished on the ground. And there's been a little bit of a gap, and I understand why some of the groups kind of maybe, because have sort of paused a little bit in that this thing is really going to get re-energized once we are able to publicly announce all the selections from the BEAD program, right? Because then, and we'll help with this, because then you're going to know, okay, we got to get on a regular cadence. Our county committee needs to get on a regular cadence with the winners in our county and kind of, get updates from them. So things will get a little re-energized and recharged as a natural kind of output from us announcing the BEAD results when we can do that in the next couple of months. So things are about to get exciting again, and we'll be traveling up to Newton County and talk with you guys sometime soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll flip to the aggregate numbers across rounds 1, 2, and 3. These are the high level results. Right. And I do want to notate for this could change a little bit, right? We got to go do our reviews in the background, right? That's why it's preliminary selections. Part of the reason that we can't go put out a list today, right? Because as we're doing reviews, in theory, things could change, and it doesn't serve anyone to publish a list and then have to take it back, right? And put out a new list. That doesn't help anybody. And so that's why it's preliminary. Here's our high level numbers. And once we're able to solidify after our reviews that we think people are going to stay, then that's when we put out the list for everyone. Hey, Jeff. Did you have something?
Yes. I was wondering, I think you had mentioned 439 million will be available after the infrastructure part of the BEAD program had been in it in Arkansas. I was just wondering, with that 439 million, could it be used for digital skills training?
Yeah, so one of the things we're considering, one of our options, right, and paths forward is if we can do it, is folding in digital skills and opportunity plan work, perhaps into the BEAD side, and that would be some funding that we could use to cover that, right? So that's one of the options that we're evaluating. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Make sure we're not missing anything in our chat. Let's see. Apparently, Otter has a basic plan that may be 30 minutes long, so some of those are coming through in the chat. That maybe they're going to shut off, not sure. So some of those are in there, but we'll spend another minute or two just in case, either in the chat or if someone wants to come off of mute, that's okay too.
Hey, Glenn, this is Tamika.
Hey, Tamika.
I just want to piggyback on what Hunter said by way of support and commending you for carrying this work on in such a positive way. Um, if it had not been for this space, many of us have been given the opportunity to really take a really deep look at what collective impact looks like. You mentioned earlier library systems and all of these different groups and organizations that speak to digital skills building, but we've now come together, combining those efforts, mobilizing resources, and I think that's very important across our state as we attempt to move this work forward. But that was made possible by this space that you cultivate for us. So I just want to say thank you. And thank you for continuing the effort in such a positive way.
Well, thank you, Tamika, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, half the job is facilitating, right? And trying to bring the right people together and the right partners together, and just let good people do good work. I don't have to try to have all the answers or try to come up with all the right answers. A lot of the time, it's getting very smart people who are much smarter than I am in the room together and have good people do good work. So any way that we can help that, I appreciate the sentiments there very much so. And it's also a team effort. We have a great team. We have a great team here on staff with us doing good work every day. So it's a team effort, and I appreciate that. Let's see. I'll admit him. All right, we'll give it just another minute. I don't want to keep everybody longer than we need to. So just another minute, just in case any chat box stuff or comments. And then we'll move very quickly into our Memorial Day holiday. Okay, well with that, we'll wrap. Please look for the follow-up communication from our team very shortly. Have a great Memorial Holiday weekend. Let's remember why we have this holiday, to remember our nation and our service members. And so everyone enjoy it. Please be safe. We'll have updates for you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.